Yeah, I broke the rules, made a beautiful lady my wife. And no, she's not that young, uh, comparatively to myself. Surprise, surprise, ladies still look beautiful in their upper 40s. I used to really enjoy it when her face did this, and it did for like the first 4 weeks, and then we got married, and something weird started happening. Well, it had already begun. She was kind of showing jealousy. I thought it was cute and understood that she had just moved her and her small child here, 8,000 miles away from home. Now, something I've never done, and I doubt if I ever will again, I don't know, is actually embrace this lady's heart with mine. 8,000 miles away, I heard a song that she was singing in her heart. And funny enough, when she got here, she hums it. There was a lot more confirmations than that. There's a lot more to it than I'll get into. As some of you know, I've helped heal some of your ailments from a distance. This was not the same thing. It was more intimate than anything I've ever known. Um, so I opened my heart to this lady, and it's still there, still open. I'm still being a husband. I've never lashed back until now, and this is what it looks like. I haven't heard from her come Monday for 14 days. Not a word. She hasn't checked my messages. I went to the police missing persons report and the county for a health and welfare inspection because the missing persons report ended up in a dead end, and I couldn't get the sheriff to deliver any papers that I filed with the court about this because of the local police putting a hole, a sock in the hole. They also stopped the county adult services from checking out the situation and assessing and offering her some much needed counseling. Because, see, she's beautiful, but she's had 25 years of delusion history. The family's been telling me since after she left the house on Monday. What I was recording for Days and Days live prior to and the exact moment she left, and I came back down and finished blowing glass for a couple hours instead of chasing her around trying to find out where she was going. The police, the city attorney, long story short, calls me up yesterday talking about you don't need to know where she. I'm like, I've never asked. And funny thing, he kept telling me that the La Junta police would bend over backwards to comply for an adult assessment counseling for her, and the county assessors said that actually the only reason it didn't happen was because of local police. So he stopped wanting to address that and wanted to go back over to the sheriff, and I kept bringing him back around to the. So what about this? And he's all like, "Well, we're working in circles now." It says because you don't want to address the situation you just made a fucking point of, and he said, "Well, we're just going around in circles, and it's not really accomplishing anything." I says, "Because you're being a liar to me." Very specifically about the local police doing everything they can to comply with Colorado law and in a missing persons report actually lay eyes on somebody or get an official notice, which none of which was done. And if it had been, regardless of her address, I wouldn't have needed to know that. I just wanted to know if she was taking an air because nobody had ever done so until after the county assessor told me that was highly illegal, irregular, and I should probably hire an attorney because she can't tell me what's going on. I'm like, okay, fine, that's great. So I did. I tried to and talked to him. He made a couple phone calls. 2 hours later, gave me more information. The legal information that I'm allowed to have. Somebody he knew had actually laid eyes on my beautiful wife and stepdaughter and said that they were safe. Now, that's all I needed to know. That's all I was legally allowed to know, and that is fine. I feel a lot better now. However, it's been brought to my attention because her sister and I started talking because I'm sure some of you saw the interaction between her sister and I. It was quite repugnant. She's very condescending and discounting of me as a human being because I partake in marijuana to alleviate my immense bodily injuries, broken back, herniated discs, degenerative discs, et cetera, et cetera. Fucking it's killing me today. However, that's not the topic. The topic is I'm starting to see a commonality. Now, I know Americans, you know about Department of the Child Protective Services. They do not have the equivalent in New Zealand. I looked it up because I know about cultural differences and stuff like that. So I tried to warn the sister of all of these different things that she is lining herself up for. Do I have to say more? She's in a women's battered shelter. I live 10 foot from the female custody judge of this county, who is actually, she's helped me a little bit, um, being able to publish this in the newspaper instead of have to wait until the 29th of September, which our divorce set for. Another thing, I don't have to go there. If she decides that she wants to come back, comes out of this delusion. So let's begin on that. Sitting around, she starts telling her daughter that I fathered her in New Zealand and abandoned her. Whoa, where'd that come from? So very shortly after we were in, I didn't say, like I didn't say anything. Um, Very shortly after we're in our bedroom and speaking, because we spent a lot of time in here. She would, we'll get to that later. Anyways, I'm like, where did that come from? And it became an issue. She got mad, and I was like, really confused. So then all of a sudden, this little jealousy thing came into a real neurotic type behavior about everybody making a comment on any of my videos, became a love affair. I was reaching out with the heart because she experienced the same thing. I've never done that with anybody. I've never tried to chat up any one of you 10,000 people. Long story short, I've tried to warn them about DSS and how they attack homeless people. Can DSS take fucking my kid from me just because I'm homeless? No, but it's just a loophole. They use that. They know where she's at. They know I didn't abuse her. My neighbors saw her acting strangely. Okay. So I'm looking at well, long story short, the intervention and all this stuff, because I know from personal experience, I don't know too many parents on the continent that have not had uh, dealings with child services. I have. I managed to keep my son. I'm full custody dad. Oh my God. I mean, like, wow. Okay, so how did I do it? I went to Adult Protective Services first, started taking courses, started enrolling in their shit, and they actually aided me when DSS came into my house and tried to take my son 13 times. That's how I kept sheriffs. Took their parenting classes and all that stuff. I had in-home people coming in because I wanted to, not because I was court ordered. I'd never been to court. I was raising a 4-day-old baby by myself, wrong equipment. Okay, I kept my son. He just graduated at 16 early. People in this community know me, and I'm really having problems now because of this lady. Now her sister has been my only contact. Now I've forwarded these to myself over the time, just documenting what I'm being told by the family about my wife. That seems everything she's told me is uh, come out of absolute lies. Um, so my main concern here was trying to warn her about DSS, what can happen. And her assessment to this is threats of the police, immigration, child protection services, mental health. It seems to be that you are out on, set out on separating my niece from my sister. I don't like this behavior. It's alarming. Now, I've sent um, several links of mainstream news talking about how, long story short, what is it? They take children and they basically adopt them out for money and do it thousands and thousands of times a year. That it doesn't need to be done. And it's a horrible process. The foster system cares or doesn't care very much. And I am foster care certified myself. I've been in the system. To this day, I am the most qualified foster care giver in the state of California because of all the courses I've taken through Adult Protective Services. And thank God I did because they helped me keep my son with me without ever losing custody. I've maintained full custody always. And I was just trying to pass on some information that I knew. And she comes up with this. So I'm wondering, is it a cultural thing that maybe is going on? Because this seems like it doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. And none of this has. She still, to this day, has never contacted me. My wife, my beautiful wife, just swore vows to me. I've never broken any vows. I've never aggressed her. Everybody, I'm not an aggressive person. I may be an asshole, but I was never an asshole towards my wife. All I asked for was some mutual respect. Stop being condescending and rude to me, interrupting my own sentence, and I barely ever got that out. Most of the time, it was would please, 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 because I had come to a habit of putting my hand in my mouth like I'm not being allowed to speak. So that became an affront to her. And the last 2 days she was here, that we were all on film, we didn't even interact except for the one time when Seamus come down and said she was packing. I went upstairs, said, "Are you packing?" She said, "No, I'm straightening out." I said, "Well, if you need a ride anywhere, let me know." Came back downstairs, blew some glass, and the next thing you know, Seamus comes downstairs, so she's walking down the street with Bellamy. So apparently, she's still got it in her head. I'm a danger to her, and or she wants to go home, whatever. That's fine. But I've got divorce papers that if she signed them, we'd be divorced and she could go home a single lady. If she doesn't want to, I mean, this is time to shit or get off the pot. I've had enough. The fucking games are over. I'm tired of being accused by the sister every time I fucking try and warn her of something going on in our system that I'm the bad guy. Seriously, Eve, kiss my ass. Your sister has really fucking caused a mess, and nothing I've done. Okay, I've never aggressed your sister. I've never aggressed you. I've never threatened her, and I've never threatened you. And I'm getting fucking tired of being treated like I have. Period. Okay, we clear? Now, somewhere in the back of my head, I've actually got it, that it's a possibility that she could come home because I don't think she's going to make it to New Zealand. I have no idea what's going on, but I know New Zealand just went under a hard lockdown and air travel's getting bad. Delta versions all over the place, and fucking countries are rebelling against the vax. Things are getting crazy. Um, I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that if she does come home, it's going to be on the condition that we get some counseling because I'm not going to be able to deal with this the rest of my life. I can tell you that. And if she doesn't come home, I'm fully prepared for that too. She's an adult; she can make her own decisions. Time will tell, right? But I'm going to tell you this much right now: women's shelters, she's going to be put on the street soon, and she's either going to a homeless shelter. They're going to look at what they're, you know what she's facing. Obviously, her family thinks I'm threatening, and I'm trying to save her from a horrible fucking nightmare. Um, I really do have love for the lady still. I haven't lost it. I understand that it's a condition. It can be treated. It's never been addressed. I think it would be best if she came here. I'm a rock. She's had horrible situations lead her up to this situation with men. I'm not those guys. And I'm willing to help. But it seems like her family members are really geared on getting her back and keeping us from talking to each other because they view me as a threat. She views me as a threat. And I would like to know, well, I already do, because I didn't do anything. But I'll ask you, what the fuck have I done? You've since the beginning, my in-laws have been working against what I mean, as far as I've been told from my wife and in-laws, I'm the best they can